shift gear a little bit. What is
Yeah.
the biggest challenge in your life that you have endured? The biggest challenge in your life or business that you have endured, if any?
I mean, there have been so many, but I think probably the one that is the most prominent, because it was my daughter Juniper. It was her ninth birthday yesterday,
Oh,
and
birth-
thank you. And my wife and I were reflecting on the fact that at 7 a.m. 9 years prior, uh, we found out that she was still alive, because she was born not breathing. So she was born not breathing at about 5 a.m. and they took her to the NICU, and it took them, they were working on her for a very long time. So during those 2 hours, we didn't know if she was going to make it. And then we found out she was going to make it, but she had had multiple seizures. She was in really, really rough shape. She had a G tube placed. There was a concern of whether or not she was going to have a suck and swallow at all. And she just was a rock star, and she kept kind of, coming back from everything. And today, she has cerebral palsy, um, but like light years beyond like what we originally anticipated and thought was going to be the situation. But that time period, as I was still doing the entrepreneurship thing at the time. My wife she was in education, but she had stepped away while she was on, maternity leave and all these things. And I'll never forget our doula at the time, also worked at an art gallery and knew a lot of, well-to-do, sort of folks. And she set up a GoFundMe for us because we just didn't, we were basically just taking care of my daughter for these like 5 weeks. And it was such an intense time. And so many people donated to that GoFundMe and just like made it so that over the course of that time we had living expenses. And one of the things that I've always thought about specifically from that experience is how many parents go through that sort of NICU experience, and it is entirely isolated. Like you don't often have, support during those times. And that's what that just like reminded me of, when I thought about it. But when I think back to some of the hardest, like most difficult times, those 5 weeks were incredibly intense. Not knowing when she would come home, if she would come home, like so much. But she is, a little rock star, our dear Juniper. And she just like just makes us smile every day.
I have an idea. We should propose her story to Marvel.
Yeah, I know, right? Super Junie.
Yeah, yeah. You should write that book
Yeah.
and submit it in the Broadway show.
Yeah, right.
That is something.
Yeah.
Oh, that is intense. I couldn't imagine. Oh my gosh.